Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed Shlita. Hope everyone had a restful and enjoyable Shabbos. We continue our week of learning. Again, l'zuchus in the merit of Hachayal Yonatan Yitzchak. They should be successful in all of their missions. Refuah Sheleimah for all those who need it, and the safe return of all of our hostages. And how uplifting and encouraging and such great news that we received while the world is focused on a game. Our eyes and our ears and our hearts are in Israel. And as we heard of the brave operation, IDF soldiers, and the ability to rescue Fernando Marman and Louis Har, and to see the pictures today of them being reunited with their families after so many days in captivity. Let us hope that these operations continue in a successful manner and that we return all of our hostages back home. Our next halacha, mitzvah klalit v'isur hapachad. B'mitzvahs hasherut b'tzava, misbaleit hatzad haklali shebechol yachid b'Yisrael. When it comes to the mitzvah of serving in the army in Israel, so there is a general obligation that falls on every individual. As kol mitzvahs onu mekayim kiyachidin. Mostly when it comes to mitzvahs, we fulfill them as individuals. V'amnam kol Yisrael arevim zeh bazeh. And we have this principle that Jews are responsible for one another. V'hagavana hi la'it b'chol mitzvahs hi l'kayim b'shem kol Yisrael. And the intention, the noble intention for all the mitzvahs is to fulfill them in the name of all of Israel. But even if you're doing it for the sake of Israel, for all of Israel, but ultimately speaking, you're doing it as an individual. And that's your fulfillment. But when it comes to serving in the Israeli army, the individual, he actually sort of steps away from his individuality, and then he becomes a portion in the greater good. And therefore, it's one giant unit made up of several individuals who lose their individuality, but they become part of this klal, and they are fighting as one for the sake of the Jewish people. So it's through this notion of being one unit, that every individual soldier shouldn't have fear from war. If you think of it as individual, I'm just one person doing one thing, then there's going to be fear. So therefore, in regular life, a person has to be careful. You have to be worried about different dangers. That will prevent us from watching our souls, taking care of ourselves. And other than the three major mitzvahs that we've discussed, generally speaking, pikuach nefesh, saving a life, takes precedence over all mitzvahs in the Torah. Ulam b'melchama, Torah kol Yehudi lisalos b'tfisas atzmo kiyachid. When it comes to war, every Jew has to elevate himself from his individual status. V'liros atzmo kechelek miklal Yisrael. He needs to view himself as a part of the corpus of the entire Jewish people. He's a soldier, he's a messenger, he's the one that is sent, and his purpose is to reveal the word of Hashem in the world. And this is what allows this person to overcome his fear and to fight with bravery. The Rambam writes in Hilchos Melachim, is that the Rambam says that after a person is involved in war, so he has to lean on the hope of the Jewish people, and that who is that? HaKadosh Baruch Hu will save him in a time of need. V'yodea shal yichud Hashem hu osim l'chaman. He's doing this for the sake of Hashem's name. V'yasim nasho b'chapo, and he will place his soul on his hand, so to speak. V'lo yireh v'lo yifached, and he won't be afraid. V'lo yachshav lo b'ishto v'lo b'banav, and he won't think about his wife. He won't think about his children. He wipes their memory from his heart, and he turns all of his attentions towards war. And a person who begins to think about other things during the war actually violates a commandment, because it says, Al yerach levavachem al tiru al tachbazu al tartu mipnehem. The pasuk in Devarim tells us that you can't have any sort of fear. V'lo od al shekol demei Yisrael tulim mitzavaro. We realize that all the blood, the lives of the Jewish people are hanging on your shoulders. If a person can't have these feelings removed in the time of war, and something happens, then the responsibility is his. We don't want the hearts of his brothers to melt like his. The pasuk based on the pasuk in Yirmiyahu Memches. His intention should be to sanctify Hashem's name only. If he has this fear and this respect and this knowledge that Hashem is guiding him, then he will see no harm. That's the interpretation on the pasuk. He'll be able to have success, have family, house, etc. Shenemar, because the pasuk says in Shmuel, Ki aso yasa Hashem ladani bayis ne'aman, ki melchamas Hashem ladani lecham v'ra'alo yitzimatzeh b'cham yamecha, v'haisa nefesh ladani tzur b'tzur hachai mes Hashem elokecha. So many phrases that we're used to hearing, by the way, bayis ne'aman, nefesh tzur b'tzur hachayim. But these lofty ideals that when a person thinks of the ultimate purpose, and by the way, I could tell you from personal experience, and I can't tell you how many times, because it's so many times, when I ask soldiers going into battle, coming from battle, and their thoughts are only on the mission and on protecting Am Yisrael. As I mentioned last time, speaking with bereaved parents who harbor no anger, they harbor a tremendous amount of sense of pride that their children, that they fought for a noble cause, fulfilling this great mitzvah in the Torah. But we begin a week on good news nonetheless. Let's hope that this good news continues. Please continue for the brave soldiers of the IDF. Refuah Sheleimah l'chol Am Yisrael, and safe return of the rest of the hostages. We have to make sure we do everything we can to get them home. Thanks for listening. We'll see you here next time.